Welcome to Bury Talent, the show for young professionals that tears down false beliefs about faith and work so you can unbury your God-given talent right where you are. I'm Ken Freire here with my co-host Patrick Lowndes, and today we're talking about 7 hacks to finally get the call back. Last week, we talked about the 5 harsh truths that HR won't tell you. And after a while, if you start to believe those false truths and not actually do anything about it, you may start to believe that you're stuck, and no matter how many jobs you apply to, you'll never hear back. But today, what we're going to talk about is a smarter path for you to actually get that callback. So we're going to talk about the 7 strategies that make HR call you, not the other way around. Patrick, let's just go straight into it because we got a lot to cover today. What is point number 1? What's a good actionable strategy for them to get a callback?
That's awesome. Yes. I want to start off by saying I did spend the first 5-6 years of my career directly in the HR space, but selling software to HR professionals. We'd sell compensation data at payscale.com. And we would work with a lot of recruiters and HR VPs and all those things. And today the world is just different from when I was selling software back then to give them compensation data and looking at the salaries. And so what we need to do is figure out how do we even get to that conversation about salary, right? Some people are like, Patrick, if I could just get to that conversation of the offer and the salary, that'd be great. So we're going to try to get you there with these 7 ways, these 7 strategies to help you out. But let's start with the first one. We did this last time talking about the impact of AI. And so point number one, the first hack we want to give you is leverage the AI tools wisely. Don't let it become your crutch. If you've done this already before, maybe you've done this with friends or something, you just kind of copied and pasted something out of GPT. A lot of you notice, you all notice like that first space that it adds in the paragraph that makes the whole thing look off. It's kind of funny when people forget that. And they're like, hey, look, here's something, here's my work. And you're like, looks like you just straight up copied and pasted this thing out of GPT, right? So here's how I use it. I'm sure there's lots of opinions on this. We probably have a whole episode just on this topic, but use these tools wisely. I like to start, it's all about your prompt. And when you go to kind of write in and start chatting with a GPT or Gemini or whoever you're chatting with, I like to start with the specifics of the things that I already know. Bring your human intelligence in. Because if you leave that on the shelf, you're like, I just want to get a job here, enter, right? Like, come on, like you're an image bearer of God, like the Creator Almighty. Why not tap in to God's insight? Even have you ever thought about maybe praying first before you start prompting and playing with the LLM? Like, God, what's something that maybe this company, show me something while I'm looking at their website, at this job post. What's something that I can start with, right? So I would say start with some insights that you're bringing to the LLM to then let that be the prompt that kind of brings the creativity that the LLM's not going to bring. So Ken, that's my first shot there is use AI wisely. Don't just let it be a crutch.
Yeah, and if you're going to use AI, I would just add this. Start getting familiar with how AI works. Use it often enough because they'll start to use similar language all the time. So for example, one thing that I always catch and I get annoyed now that people don't change it, when AI says, especially ChatGPT, they'll say something like, hey, this is a no fluff, actionable thing. I'm like, who says no fluff in real life? Right?
That's right.
It doesn't. So just make sure that kind of stuff is not in your resume or whatever you're using when you're trying to reach out to people. Make it have your authentic voice, nice. Which leads to point number 2, which is that you tailor your resume and application to the role, right? Make sure you use the exact job titles, keywords, or phrases for the description. Man, show you understand the needs of people that you're applying for. Here's what I have found. Sometimes you just make a general resume and you send that out, but no one actually understands this. I'll give you a great example. I remember one time I was trying to apply for a ministry job, a pastor's job. And the recruiter actually reached out to me and they're like, hey, Ken, you have a great business resume. But most pastors aren't looking for that. If you don't tailor this to show how you have a pastoral heart, it won't matter to them. So I didn't change my titles or anything like that. I just changed my descriptions of what I did in that role and how it might fit to pastoring. And lo and behold, when I did that, all of a sudden, I started to get more applications or more pastors wanting to interview with me and just say, hey, I see your interest. I see you have both a pastoral heart and a business heart, like business acumen. Let's talk, right? So
Yeah.
make sure that you are doing that as best as possible. Here's a good stat to think about. Candidates whose resumes match the target job see up to 10.6% times higher interview rates. So if you can do
Whoa.
that with your job, it's going to change drastically. Even,
10x? Wait, hold
yeah,
up. So like
10x.
if my chances of like getting to the interview stage, we just talked in the last episode about some of this. If my chances
Yeah,
are like 25% that I'll even a human will look at it, and less, let's just say 10% or 5% to even have a conversation, you're saying that like my chances would be instead of 5%, like 50%. Like if my odds were 1%, I might jump to 10% if I just tailor my resume.
exactly.
Wow.
And that's why I would encourage you guys, if you are going to tailor your resume, man, I know it takes a long time to tailor your resume. Tailor it for specific type of jobs or industries that you're trying to pursue.
Yeah, that's
Don't
it.
have like this spray and pray effect of you're like, oh, I'm going to pursue like ministry jobs and business jobs and sales jobs and marketing jobs. Like, man, you're
Yeah,
not going to be able to tailor it correctly that
right.
way.
Number three, we're going to get to it, is use referrals and network strategically. Some of you know a friend of mine, Henry Kasner, who started the faith driven movement, entrepreneur, investor. And I heard him talking. We were chatting a little bit about his sons who are in college now. And he just made this comment kind of offhand. And I'm sure it's common knowledge, but I love how he said it about his sons. He's like, I tell my boys, he's got a few boys. He says, college is not about the grades you make, but it's about the hands you shake.
That's so
And I know
good.
and think about that, the hands you shake, right? Who are the professors you're meeting? Who are the guest speakers that are coming to speak at your college, right? That are bringing sometimes networks of thousands of people to bear, right? And you are like just getting going, you hardly know anybody, right? And it's like they're showing up. And so again, we're going to have a lot more content on this podcast about networking. How do you go up to someone and start a conversation, build that conversation flow? As you think about this,
Hey, Patrick,
yes,
somehow it paused when you were talking. Can you jump back to number 3? We'll
that's
just
right.
have to start at number 3 and I'll edit it.
All right, cool. All right, we can do that. And good. All right, number 3, use referrals and network strategically. Some of you know a friend of mine, Henry Kasner, who's got his sons now in college. And I heard him say, kind of in a conversation we were having, just kind of offhand, oh, yeah, I'm telling my boys, it's not about college. It's not about the grades you make. It's about the hands you shake. And when you just think about that for a sec, you're like, wow, yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. The stats back it up. We talked about this last episode. It's only 6% of applications come from referrals, right? People that know you that say, hey, I know Susan here, or I know Hamdi, or I know Mike, or whatever. You should take a look at their resume, right? When that referral comes in, 37% of the hiring decisions go to those referrals, right? And so you might be in college or just early in your career and you're like, I just don't know that many people. Well, you have guest speakers coming to speak in your class that are running businesses and they're super well networked. You have, chapel speakers, you got people coming in offering to do mentoring programs. I mean, just think about the 2 or 3 people. If you only have one person who's mentoring you, right? And you don't have like multiple mentors, this is your chance to like go take a little inventory of that, because referrals and strategic networking are super helpful. And we will be talking a lot more about that on this show, as that's a key element to being a successful and faithful business operator and young professional. So that's number 3, use referrals and networking strategically. On to number 4.
Yeah. On to number 4. With number 3, real quick, if you guys are ever interested, this is a strategy that I've always done, a real good
Ooh,
tactic. I
okay.
started a podcast and I would invite all the people in the industry that I wanted a job in to actually join the podcast and get to know me. And that's another way for you to circumvent the hiring process. Because if you say, for example, bring in the hiring manager, right, to your podcast, then all of a sudden you don't have to do the whole interview process. They see you face to face. You've had a conversation with them. They know that you do podcasts and you have this tool, the
That's
skill
good.
set under your tool belt. It's just really helpful. But
Cool.
we could talk about that in a totally different conversation. I just want to throw that out there for you guys to just start thinking that you can network in so many different ways.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Number
Patrick and I
4, go
both
for
love networking. Number four, number four. All right, we're not even halfway through. Number 4, optimize your online digital presence. All right, make sure you clean up your social media, build an actual strong LinkedIn profile, highlight your relevant projects because HR will check. And I would actually encourage you that if you are, I'm just going to use this as an example, right? Someone who's looking for a marketing job, right? I would start to like just connect with as many marketing people on there and start commenting on their stuff. And you start posting the things you're learning about marketing there because they want to see that you actually have the skill sets. And when you have other people on LinkedIn posting on your things and commenting on your things, man, it's just going to give you credibility and authority.
Yeah.
So this is going to be really, really huge.
Even if you
So
don't have a
make,
lot. I'll just say,
even
even
if
if
you
you
don't
don't
have a
have a
lot,
lot, right? That's a great way to
yeah,
build it, is like kind of learn publicly, which you might be like, Patrick, that would be terrifying. But hey, like put yourself in the glass box. Hey, look what I learned today. Maybe you guys all know this already, but check this out, right? Shows you're humble, you're teachable.
yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, I have several people because I like to learn about AI and I post a lot about AI productivity right on LinkedIn. People will follow me and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, I didn't know about this. Can like I talk to you more?" And it just naturally happens. So the more you start sharing stuff that you're really good at or the things you're learning, kind of you said like learn in public, man, all of a sudden people are just going to be like, yeah, that's great. That was a great piece of advice. Or they give you feedback and you're just connecting and networking. Uh, I, I think another thing there that I just want to add is that HR people want to see that you're hungry and that you're always humble enough to keep
yeah,
learning. If you're stuck with just the stuff that you learned at school and that's it, and you're not growing, people are going to notice that. But if you're up to date on the newest trends on whatever your industry is and you're sharing that knowledge, people are going to take notice of that.
yeah, yeah. I like on this next point. Now here's number 5. Okay, so we got a few more to go here, but number 5 is show genuine enthusiasm and fit for the role. Right. One of the ways I like to do this personally is like, for example, I'm just working on getting a speaking engagement at a pretty large conference, right? And so I said, hey, can you tell me about the conference, right? And so they gave me the thing like, this is the goal of the conference, is the themes. What I did is I did like a Loom video. I use Tela, actually. Tela is pretty cool. I did a Tela video, and I just basically went through the points that they wanted to hit in the conference. And I'm like, oh, that's so awesome. First, it's always good to praise. Like, that's a sweet mission. I love what you're trying to do, right? But then you're like, hey, you know what's cool is like, I've been doing that same kind of thing in point A, B, and C. And I love it too. And maybe even give them a little bit of a nugget of what you can do around that. Demonstrate. You see, I just said the word demonstrate. Get the enthusiasm that you like love to bring to that role, to that industry, to that vision, right? And if you can do that, guys, I'm telling you, there's a big difference between someone who's like, yeah, I'm very interested in this finance role, and I've got really great grades, and I checked all the boxes, and I did an internship last summer too. Yeah, that's what I did. And that's like me, as opposed to the guy that's like, oh, I love how this finance role, you're like making a difference in how your clients actually can understand their month end close or where they're going strategically. And that gets me excited. I get a little animated about helping people figure out where they're going with finances. Do you tell the difference between those two, right? Enthusiasm versus blah or meh. Don't be meh. Before we get to the 6th and 7th point, we got to do our kind of mid-show little plug. If you're hearing this and you're like, man, this is pretty sweet. This is kind of, I don't want to say sage and, like maybe overinflate myself here. But if you like this, can you just on the show, just hit like or follow on the show in all the different, whatever podcast, Spotify, Apple you're listening, or if you're catching this on YouTube on our channel, just like and follow that, maybe subscribe to it. It just helps us reach more people. You guys already know that. I just had to say that. But if you're hearing this and you haven't actually done that yet, now's the moment to just pause and do that. All right, Ken, number 6.
Number 6. Well, and when I think about stage, I thought you just meant old. And I'm like, yeah, Patrick is getting pretty old there.
My back, Ken. Ugh.
Okay. Number 6, it's follow up intelligently and with value, right?
Mm,
What we mean here is that, like, after you apply, make sure you send a concise follow up note, right? Maybe 1 to 2 lines. It doesn't have to be long. Express your interest, possibly add one insight or resource you bring to the table, right? Don't just ask for an update, right? Like, and I've done this before with jobs. I'm like, hey, I know that you are in this space. I just saw this new, research paper that came out. Have you guys heard about it? Right? Like, you're just wanting to show that you are capable and that you're really wanting to do it,
yeah.
right? Or you might say, hey, I just created this new piece of code. Would you want to see it? Right? Like, it's just little things that you're going to keep top of mind where people are like intrigued. You want to hook them to be like, I should double check their resume. I should really see if they're actually capable of doing what they say they are going to do.
Wow, that's sage. Yeah, if you like finish an interview and you don't send an email within 12 hours, like what are you thinking? Come on. And some of you are like, I've worked with you or I had a call with you and you're like, Patrick, you didn't send me an email and I am guilty as charged on that. But hey, we all are learning. We're all growing. Let's get to point number 7. This is the last hack that we'll give you today. We're going to keep unpacking these. But point 7, hacks to get that call back is iterate, get feedback, and constantly refine your pitch. I've got a friend who's just been going after this job thing like literally in the years now. And what's just difficult is I don't know how much time and effort he puts into kind of remaking, refining, getting feedback from people that are in the role that he wants to be. And I just got to tell you this: if you're not talking with people, networking with people that are already in the role, even if it's like a kind of a distant connection, you're missing out on a chance to get some valuable feedback. Another way to get feedback in our operator community, jump into the operator community. We talk about that occasionally, but like there's people on there, there's other peers that are like, I don't say it like that. My coach told me to say it like this, or hey, my dad's in this industry. He says avoid that, or maybe focus on that, right? And so we need to share that feedback and refine constantly together. So that's the last piece. If you can go it alone, you could rely on algorithms as impersonal as that is, but I'm telling you, like the God-given image-bearing feedback that he can give us, even the insight that we get through the Spirit of God that lives in us, the Holy Spirit is coming through your friend. It's not coming through ChatGPT. All right. So get feedback where it counts. I'll get off the pulpit for a second. Sorry on that one. But can you bring us home? What should we know as we wrap this up?
Yeah, for all of you who are listening to this and you hear these 7, you may feel in some ways a little relieved. You're like, there's solutions to my problems. And at the same time, you may feel a little overwhelmed. You may be like, oh my gosh, this is so many stuff. I don't know which one to implement. Here's what I would say. Start with the easiest one that you know to fix right now.
Yeah.
Because the reality is that these things are not gimmicks, right? They're not things that you're just like, oh, I'm going to do it and it's going to work magically, right? It's a process. But when you start to execute on that process, man, people are going to pay attention, see it. They're going to pay attention to it, that you care, that you can deliver. HR is going to notice these things, especially if you're following up, if you have a network, if you're engaging, right? If you're just doing these things,
Mm,
people are going to notice this.
yes.
And people, like, I love how the scriptures talk about God honors wisdom and diligence and initiative, being proactive, right? It says that there's wisdom in a multitude of counselors. So you just going out and finding people, your counselors, if not from just your school or your church, if you don't find them there, in the operator community, find people that can help you get there, because the more you network and the more they help you grow, the more you'll land the jobs that you want. So don't feel like you have to spray and pray, right? Don't feel like you have to scream louder. What you need is to speak more clearly. That's what you need. Proverbs 22:29 says this: do you see a man skillful in his work? He will stand before kings.
Mm.
And that's what we want for you, is that you stand before kings, showing that you're capable, not because you were shouting the loudest, but because you stood out the most.
Even vice presidents, maybe just to translate that a little bit, you'll stand before owners of companies and vice presidents, right? If you're faithful and skillful, even if you're just getting going your career, only a couple years in, whatever, God can see that faithfulness develop. So that's good.
Yeah, Absolutely. So pick one of these and just go after it. Tweak it, implement it, and then go to the next one. Don't try to do all 7 right away. Just do one accomplishment, then go to the next one. And the more that helps, the greater you'll do. Man, again, if you guys have loved this, like and follow us, and also join the operator community. Right, we have a lot of live events that we do that you could just come in and see what we do and how we work and how we could help you. And if you want to be a crazy, faithful young professional with other mentors and operators trying to live out this beautiful world of kingdom impact together,
Yeah.
come join us. Until then, see us next time.